Deepwoken's Vow of Iron has Wait, what? What do you mean it's delayed? I want to play it on stream today. Fucking Deepwoken devs. Anyway, the Vow of Iron has been delayed by 2 weeks and is now going to be releasing on Saturday, December 13th. If you guys were going to delay it, why couldn't you at least make a deadline for Friday? I get they said they were going to release it earlier on Saturday, but dude, a Friday is just so much better. Regardless, in its place we got a trailer, which has shown us some very cool additions to the Vow of Iron that I will be covering today, as well as going over some more of my personal theories. Along with that, the reasoning for the delay was because the testers finally did their jobs and decided that this update was just too buggy and bad to release. So be glad that there's some quality control going on for once. Anyway, I'm live at twitch.tv/Reaconteur, so come check me out over there. Right now, I'm live Mondays, Wednesdays, and I'm bringing back the Friday streams. Some Fridays, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be live this Monday, this Wednesday, and this Friday. So let's get straight into it. So immediately we can already tell more time went into this trailer than, trying to get the update out on time, because seeing as how there was a 2-week delay, there's no way in hell that there was ever a chance that this was dropping anywhere near the intended date, and that was a delay too. Alright, the first thing we see within this trailer is the weird broken crystal looking thing in the White Palace looking place that I theorized to be the fragments of self in my last video. I honestly have no clue what this could be, and along with that, many people believe it to be the character creation menu and not the fragments of self, because it preloads when you're making a character in-game. And yeah, that's probably pretty likely. Now, the next thing we see is absolutely part of the Lord Regent boss fight, because it is, first of all, an instanced area of the Etrian Castle, or some sort of Etrian Castle, right? Lots of the buildings look like this, but you can tell that it's instanced like a dungeon or a boss fight arena because there's literally nothing surrounding it. Now, on this instanced castle, there's a green veil, and this is totally the Lord Regent's doing. First of all, his power thematic colors are green and black. This has been established multiple times, with readings of his true form unveiling emerald eyes that can pierce the soul. And on top of that, he's always veiled to Etris. It's something he's been known to do. He puts a veil over the people to keep them complacent and to keep the central authority out. We kind of just can't see it regularly because it's a much larger veil, and it's magic. It's not like a physical veil. Like you don't touch the veil. Now we see some more of the weird pastime in Etris, and it's on fire and stuff. This is likely due to the Lord Regent stopping the Etrian forces after the King of Etria was sealed away, so a lot of ministry agents may have had a hand in this, which I think it could be one of two things. First of all, it could be the central authority who has now started putting more pressure on Etria because the Lord Regent is enthroned, so it could just be a new version of the Etrian siege event. Or two, it could be the first siege when, the ministry kind of took over Etris and put the Lord Regent in place of the old king. And then after that, we see something massive. We see Erebus. This is definitely Erebus. Now, for those of you who may not know, Erebus is the manor that the Duke initially operated in within Arisia that he abandoned for his underground lab for more safety for, the soul forge that he uses to make his golems, kinda. It's his bell and the soul forge. He uses both to make his golems. He puts the souls in them with the forge, but he makes the golems with the bell. Whatever. Anyway, that means that the leaks that Erebus would be coming back that I covered in minimal detail were absolutely correct, and we'll finally be able to see Erebus since, the last time Erebus was in game was during pre-release testing. And then after that, we see a Great Hive. I'm not sure if it's Great Hive Aratel, because there are multiple Great Hives, like, in the world of Deepwoken and Lumen, but it most likely is Great Hive Aratel, seeing as how Vow of Iron is supposed to only have one server region, instead of being like the current Pathfinder version of the game, where you have like the Etrian Luminant, which has some stuff, and the Eastern Luminant, which has like other stuff. The Vow of Iron is going to be in one server, not two, which is huge, and I like that a lot. So that also just means that this is more than likely just going to be Great Hive Aratel before they closed off their gates and became like reclused hermits. After that, we once again see into the White Palace, which makes me think it is still some sort of version of the Fragments of Self, but I think it might be acting as both the Fragments of Self and the character creation area. And that could make sense, seeing as how in the last video I covered in relation to the Vow of Iron, we went over the fact that the characters' memories we played through aren't our own and distinctly are said to not be ours. We do not control what happens in them, we're just living through the events that happen. And therefore, they're not our actual characters. So it's possible that this could just be some sort of transitioning place from the lives and deaths of important lore figures to our characters that we will end up, experiencing the memories of and playing through. But hey, that's just a theory, and my throat hurts, so I'm not going to talk any harder than that. And I think my theory still holds up better than Sans' Ness. Now, the Vial of Iron seems to have a lot of pre-release and Deepwoken early testing period stuff re-added as content. A good example of that is this guy, like these people, they're running around carrying chests and bags, which was something they kind of abandoned since the shipment mission existed in pre-release. So it's cool to see them bringing some of that stuff back. And we also get a glimpse of weird editing when they show us someone using a new rifle to spam crits, and then off-screen it jump cuts to a random unrelated explosion. Of course, this is likely representative of the new weapon and done for cinematic reasons, but it is quite funny because you can kind of just tell that that is totally not the same explosion from that weapon's crit. Now, what I find really interesting is shown directly after is in some sort of bar with some assassin-looking guys and then some samurai armor-clad men, which shows Deepwoken's factions are going to be much more ideologically divided in the Vow of Iron, with them more so resembling the real-life factions which they were initially made to resemble. So it's likely that, you know, the Etrians are going to look more like samurais, and all their stuff is going to be more samurai-esque, and then we're going to have a lot more of that, like, Japanese inspiration in Etris in like the olden times, which we'll go over the date that this takes place in later. But along with that, we also see the assassins. Those could be people from the Hidden Village, because if you don't know, the Hidden Village in Arisia was a hidden village, kind of like, you know, the Naruto Hidden Village with like shinobi and stuff. So it could be possible that this is some sort of bar in Arisia or near Etris in Arisia, and those assassins that we see in the beginning of it are assassins from the Hidden Village before it was abandoned. Now, directly after that, we see a person with owl feathers coming off of them. Now, this is very interesting because all the characters in Vow of Iron are supposed to be lore characters that you play as, right? Meaning that this could be some new Vision Shaper variant, seeing as how, you know, the owls are connected to the Nest Mind and all that with the hive mind of the Vision Shapers. But what if this is like a modified version of Vision Shaper that lets us experience what it's actually like to be a Vision Shaper? So in-game, one piece of lore is that the Vision Shaper bell, or the Vision Shaper oath, it's a malicious oath, right? So Vision Shaper users will all eventually end up becoming part of the Nest Mind and having their minds completely taken over by the Nest Mind, at which point they'll be completely assimilated and turn into owls and join the Nest Mind's like weird hive mind. This could be like a Vision Shaper within the last stages of Vision Shapers before the oath takes their mind and they turn into an owl. Now, I think it could also be pretty cool if that's the case, because in Vow of Iron, a majority of the playable lore characters are going to be dead by the time we get to the current Pathfinder Deepwoken. So lots of these stories could end up with like the death of your character being included. Now, after that, we see Titus Fulminus Destellus, if that's even his name at this point. Seeing as how Fulminus and Destellus are earned titles, it could be just this is like Titus before he even became an actual like high-ranking member of the Legion, which would be interesting because it means that he might even be playable, which I'm honestly not sure if he's playable because he looks kind of like the image that it's in, or the video could be taken from his POV, but it also looks like it could just be someone standing behind him. So who knows? Maybe we'll get to play as Titus before he becomes like a legendary legionnaire, and we'll get to like experience his rise in power. After that, we see a new area in Etris along with an Etrian samurai wielding a new Odachi-styled katana not yet in-game, which does confirm the fact that I said like stuff was going to be more reminiscent of their original inspirations, so more Japanese-esque stuff for the Etrians. And then, you know, this is definitely just some kind of mini-boss, maybe a training mini-boss of sort, maybe like a guardian that we have to get through before we can fight the Lord Regent. Right, then we see a bunch of bullshit that doesn't matter. Lord Regent's boss fight being basically confirmed as we get a quick flash before he pulls down his blindfold, and then a year counting down to 1233 CE, which means, oh yeah, I was right from the very beginning about Vow of Iron being in the past. For anyone who genuinely thought it was an alternate reality, not saying names, but get real, please. But yes, it is confirmed to be going back over 400 years, likely slightly after the rise of the Lord Regent and his, you know, taking the throne. However, seeing as how the Lord Regent is still in power today, it means that although we will almost definitely be getting a Lord Regent fight, it will also not be a fight that we can necessarily win. I mean, I personally am expecting some sort of scripted loss. Maybe Regent pays his respects to you before banishing you, and maybe it unlocks something from him that he gifts you to, like, out of recognition for your power. Who knows, really? All we know is that he can't be killed because we're going back in time and he's still alive today. Or at least not for long. Like, the reason why we can kill bosses like the Duke is because he literally just, like, climbs out of the depths and does the trial after he dies, since he's a normal human. However, the Lord Regent isn't human and doesn't have a normal human soul, so we don't even know if he can go to the depths if he dies. I'm honestly just expecting expecting him to be like Cthulhu, and he just he toys with you for long enough, and then he's like, all right, I'll show you my true form, and then he takes off his blindfold and transforms into his true form that your mind can't process. So then your head just explodes instantly and you die in real life, and that's the end of your character. Boom, major lordom. Now, seeing as how we've seen the Lord Regent boss, or well, it's not confirmed to be a boss, but it's like a 99.9% chance, and given the fact that it's not a fight we can win for lore reasons, I think that depending on the story or the character that you choose, you could maybe be fighting like different bosses as your apex within the story. So like maybe some lore characters will go on to fight the Lord Regent, others maybe fight the War Master Maestro, seeing as how he's central authority. Others might fight some stuff we haven't seen yet, potentially. I think we might even get like a Hive Lord boss fight of some sort, seeing as how we know that the Great Hive Aratel is going to be very different. And although the Lord Regent is going to be the main focus as far as this update goes, I think it'd be great to have different story routes for different characters, and then we get to play like multiple experiences and to see everything like the Valve Iron has to offer. And you know, a Hive Lord boss fight would be pretty cool, so I'm kind of hoping for that. With that being said, I'm quite excited for this update. Anyway, I'm playing Five Nights at Freddy's on Twitch. I'm going to be beating all 4 main games, not today, but along a few streams. The drip review is getting delayed to Wednesday. I repeat, that is going to be Wednesday, the 3rd. And, oh fuck. Wait, can it, oh man, can it be Wednesday? It's kind of like one of my family members' birthdays. I'm actually not sure if I can make it Wednesday. Huh, this is awkward. You know, I'll let you know, right? It's getting delayed. I know, delay woken meta, but I wanted to chill since I just got back from Oregon, and I got some good time here, so I want to chill and not do a 4-hour drip review stream, with people trying to trick me into Googling the names of various celebrities in world cities. Anyway, make sure to subscribe. Shout out to YouTube members Green, Brick, Highcard, Philip, Flying Noodle 559, Delusional Mo, Elstern, Fun Guns, Carlia the Witch, V Corey, Axelor, and Drizzy Drake Fan. And welcome to new YouTube member at Tier 2, Taco Hadar. He's actually the guy who sends me some of the Valve Iron leaks and stuff, so thanks for that, big guy. Regardless, if you want a shout out, buy a YouTube membership at Tier 2 or higher, and I'll have a song cover out for all YouTube members this week. I love you all, have an amazing day, and goodbye.